I'm going to start this off by reading from Amos. I'm going to start Amos 5, 7 through like 14 is where I'm going to go. And I'm reading this out of the Message Bible. So it says, "Woe to you who turn justice to vinegar and stamp righteousness into mud. Do you realize where you are? You're in a cosmos star-flung with constellations by God, a world God wakes up each morning and puts to bed each night. God dips water from the ocean and gives the land a drink. God revealed does this all. God revealed does all this. And he can destroy it as easily as make it. He can turn this vast wonder into total waste. People hate this kind of talk. Raw truth is never popular, but here it is bluntly spoken. Because you run roughshod over the poor and take the bread right out of their mouths, you're never going to move into the luxury homes you have built. You're never going to drink wine from expensive vineyards you've planted. I know precisely the extent of your violations, the enormity of your sins. It's appalling. You bully right living people, taking bribes right and left and kicking the poor when they're down. Justice is a lost cause. Evil is epidemic. Decent people throw their hands up. Protest and rebuke are useless, a waste of breath. Seek good and not evil and live. You talk about God, the God of the angel armies, being your best friend. Well, live like it, and maybe it will happen. Hate evil and love good, then work it out in the public square. Maybe God, the God of the angel armies, will notice your grace, your remnant, and be gracious. Um, so this is basically what I'm doing. Like, I am working this out in the public square. Um, Amos obviously didn't have Wi-Fi, and so he legit had to be up there early in the morning, getting it in and kind of just putting himself out there, so he could warn people of what was going to happen. And I don't think that people really understand the severity of not walking in relation with God and using Jesus as that that direct way on how to live right and how to uh, do the will of God and hear from God and take your place in this royal inheritance. Because when you come into the family of God, like, things change, and you're no longer bound by these earthly things that have consumed you your whole life, and you're set free and you're able to grow. I think I've said it time before where you know people kind of just get stuck, and they don't do anything. And it's just like, they're living here on this earth and they expect some type of justice, some type of like something. I know I did. Um, and it, I'm really hard headed, like super hard headed. God has been trying to talk to me for the last, I don't know, I'm gonna say like 16, 17 years now. And I've been like, yeah, God, whatever, whatever. And not really paying attention. But then, you know, in my walk with him, he was kind of like, I really want you to get the full benefits of this. I don't want you to get partial benefits. And I'm super blessed that, I was never able to play church and just put on an outward fashion show of who I would like people to see me as, because I'm one of those people who got beat up by the world and felt like I was absolutely nothing. And for a long time, I always was just angry and upset and depressed because I got the raw end of the stick. And then God came in and he switched that all up. And then I got to focusing on Jesus a little bit more. And let me tell you, it was not easy to do it. Like, to have a relationship, to inquire about who he is and what he was about, because everything that I had encountered up until like a couple of years ago was like, everyone's so fake. Like, it's, you get saved and then you're set apart, and now you're in a whole new clique. It's a church clique, and it's popular to go to church, and no one's stepping out of their comfort zone and walking through neighborhoods and trying to grab people or save people. It's everyone just kind of stays to themselves, and I have never been able to be accepted into a group, so maybe it works for me to be the outcast. So before I go to bed, I kind of like to listen to the Bible, like the audio version, just so I can hear where Jesus is coming from. And last night I was listening to him, and I just tell you right now, Jesus is nothing like me. Jesus is super soft. He is super kind. When he needs to be very blunt with his words, he is very blunt. And the truth is the truth, and that's it. And he's not budging. And, he absolutely knew what everyone was doing inside their hearts as far as like how they were feeling towards him and like what he was trying to do, and losing their positions in life because it's glorious to be like a somebody, and most people take that to their head when they're a somebody, and they like to just do whatever. And so Jesus, when I'm listening to him last night, I'm going through, like, I started like Matthew 12 or whatever, and Jesus, he's telling stories all the time. He's telling stories, and he's kind of like, if you have ears to hear, then listen. If you have eyes to see, then see. And and everyone's not going to get this. This isn't going to apply to everyone. Everyone isn't going to want to have a relationship with somebody where you actually have to work on you. This Christian walk, this Christian life is about you removing the stuff that God points out to you that is not like him, and saying, you know what, I am addressing this, and I don't want to be anything like the way that I used to be, because I know God would be disappointed. And I talk about not having an earthly father, so it was kind of hard for me to understand that concept when God is saying, I want you to work on you. I want you to see things that are not acceptable, that I just definitely don't like, and work on them. And you get to work on situations when you're in the moment and, something ticks you off and you would pop off. Like it's a real life work. Like, okay, let me remember, like, what would Jesus do? I think they probably need to come out with those bands again, because but no one lives like Jesus. We'll be like, oh, won't he do it? God is so good, but in the next Facebook post, we're cussing somebody out, or we're trying to magnify ourselves, or whatever. Do what you want to do. I got to do what God has told me to do, because I want to walk in obedience, and I want to have his presence in my life abundantly every single day. So Jesus was talking about what was he talking about? So in Matthew 13, his disciples came up to him and asked, why do you tell stories? He replied, you've been given insight into God's kingdom, and you know how it works. Not everybody has this gift, this insight. It hasn't been given to them. Whenever someone has a ready heart for this, the insights and understanding flow freely. So this word will get you, and it'll pull at you some type of way, and it'll make you be like, okay, something is not right. I need to get it together and, figure out what's going on. And if you really want to figure out what's going on, you go ahead and you holler at God. So Jesus goes on and he's like, this is why I tell stories, to create readiness, to nudge the people toward receptive insight. In their present state, they stare till doomsday and not see it, listen till they're blue in the face and not get it. I don't want Isaiah's forecast repeated all over again. Your ears are open, but you don't hear a thing. Your eyes are awake, but you don't see a thing. The people are blockheads. They stick their fingers in their ears so they won't listen, and they screw their eyes shut so they won't have to look. So they won't have to deal with me face to face and let me heal them. That's kind of like, you gotta come to a point where enough is enough, where you're tired of feeling some type of way and something needs to change. I don't know who these things are going to speak to. I don't know what God is trying to do. I just know that I want to be obedient. And because I have this relationship with Him, I would like everyone to partake in the joy of having a relationship with Him, because it is changing. This is not like, you know, Buddhism where you find a state of nirvana, and this is not like Islam where, you know, you're just practicing rituals all day but not having a real relationship. And it's funny, like, let me just tell this and then I'll stop for right now. So I was in the car one day with one of my cousins, and he it's just stupid, I can't even believe it. So he's over 30 and he's banging, like he's out here and he's living this life, and you know, we're in the car with some girl and she's part of this group or whatever. And he's so stupid. He's so, you know, I guess I was always talking about Jesus. Like, I'm always talking about this life. I'm always talking about whatever. Now, mind you, I'm not perfect at all. So I'm pretty sure we were like on our way to smoke somewhere or whatever. And like, I'm talking about Jesus, and this girl goes, "Well, I don't believe in Jesus or God." And she's like, "I got my own, you know, person that I pray to." I'm like, does this nigga respond? Like, she said no. She said no. I pray to somebody and he doesn't talk back to me. Like, you know, I worship somebody and they don't acknowledge me. I just thought that was the dumbest thing ever. Like, what? So, yeah. Oh, okay. It's dumb. All right. What do you like? First of all, you're 33 years old. You're getting banging with this other person, and I thought they stopped that in the 90s, but apparently they didn't. Um, and I couldn't do nothing but just, like, you know, tell my cousin, like, dude, you don't even understand. Like, God is calling you for something better, but you want to sit here and do what you want to do, and you want to follow under this whatever it is. You know what I mean? This code, logo, you know, motto, whatever it is, and it does nothing for you. You don't have a relationship where, you know, whoever you're serving is trying to speak life into you and promote a greater insight into how this all works. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. But if anything, make sure you holler at God today.